Welcome, Muir. Lovely to see you. Or I can't see you yet, but so lovely when I do see you. Hi, Liz. Jahangir, welcome. Ben, Esther. Hi, Muir. Lovely to see you. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Marita. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good, thank you.
Great to see you again. Jahangir, we can't see you yet. And Ben, great to see you again. And Esther, lovely to see you.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I won't have my camera on today because they're repairing my internet and they told me to try to use pressurize the system as little as possible. So video call is better.
No worries.
Next time.
No worries at all, Esther.
Thank you.
Good you could join. Good to see you, Ben. How you doing?
Hi, Marita. Very well, thanks. And you?
Good, really good. Really good. The sun is shining. Everything is always better when the sun is shining.
It's always better when the sun's out.
Always better. We'll just give everyone a minute or two to come in. You get top marks for being so on time. And then we'll blast on. So today our topic is, for those of you who've been here before, we do a monthly webinar once a month around topics to do with employee engagement or where we love to live is workplace culture. So they are obviously very interlinked, the two of them. So today we're talking about cracking the code, keeping employees happy and productive. It's probably one of the biggest questions we get is how do we keep the employees happy and productive? So we have less HR issues, we have less sick days, we have, let's just leave these people in and go. Welcome, Charlie. You're more than welcome to come on the screen. This is can be an interactive workshop. So please come and join us. And Nancy, lovely to see you too. Come on in. So we were just getting kicked off. We're talking about cracking the code, keeping employees happy and productive. Why do we want to keep them happy and productive? Obviously, productive, make sure we get their results. Happy, we know we see less sick days, we see higher productivity, and overall we see higher attraction of good and high talent and less turnover of staff. So retaining those people you want to retain, those good high performing employees. So we're going to be talking about that today, what keeps employees happy and productive. So let's blast on. So just to give you a feeling for who we are a workplace culture consultancy. So we help companies improve their culture. And here are just some of our, I'm moving the names out the way here. Too many things on the screen when you're presenting. There we go. Bailey Bristol, we worked with them at the very beginning to really build and design their culture from values to purpose to their behaviors. Then we launched the behaviors and now we're in the process of embedding and really bringing alive those values. We have Brendan at Violays, and we also did a big program with their supply chain, and James Reed, which is part of the DAC Beechcroft. We did a lot of work around the culture and feedback in a legal firm. So we mainly focus on companies that have some mixture of blue collar and white collar, hourly workers, salaried workers, manufacturing or on the ground, construction, supply chain, and where there is salaried and where there is potentially that divide between the hourly workers and the salaried workers. So that's where our expertise really lies. So let's get going. So a study by MIT and Harvard show that happy employees get less sick less often. You don't want those absenteeisms. You don't want those days off. You want people in the work environment, 30% more productive, 55% more creative. So that is just the proof that we really want to have happy employees in our workplace. It pays us in the long term. A lot of the struggle we get with some leadership on, oh, why should we work on engagement? Why should we work on the culture? It takes so long for the payback, but yes, it's a longer journey, but the payback is much bigger than a short-term intervention. So that is, we've lots of people jumping in, so I'm adding them in. So keeping employees safe, happy and productive. So there's 3 concepts we talk about. The me, the what is important to me as an employee. I want to know my needs are being met. Am I valued? Am I appreciated? Does my role make an impact on the bigger picture? The needs can be from pay to benefits to flexibility, well-being, and those have become more and more prevalent in I would say, since COVID, but also with the newer generations coming along. So the millennials, the well-being is of high priority, flexibility is of high priority, and meaning and purpose. So doing work that has meaning and purpose, which will come to company as well. That is really, really important. And as the next generations have a higher impact in the workplace as well, it becomes more prevalent. So are my personal needs being met? Team, is my team positive? Is it a nice place to work? Do I like being part of the team? Are we accountable? So this is a one that we really work hard in with companies, is accountability. Are we accountable? Do we hold people accountable? Number one, to the values and behaviors that we expect from people. And are people pulled up if they do not behave in the way the culture is, that we want the culture to be in this company? And but also, are we held accountable for the work we do? And then most of all, are we a successful team? So most of us want to work in a nice environment, know that our work matters, and that work can have some success in our team. So they are the team questions we do is it a positive place to work? Are people held accountable? And is it successful? So on that accountability, we spend a lot of time working with managers to make sure they have the skills and the confidence to actually be able to hold people accountable. There's nothing more demotivating than someone really working really hard to try and achieve what they want to achieve and getting results, and they see somebody over there who is not performing, not giving the results, and is not being held accountable, and may even be behaving not in accordance with the culture and still not being held accountable. Nothing more demotivating. So ensuring that every person who has people responsibility has those skills and that confidence to be able to hold people accountable. And the company, meaning and purpose is important. So is there an inspiring purpose? Are we making a difference more than making money? And it doesn't have to be altruistic and saving the world. It just needs to be something that is quite inspiring, something above and beyond making money. Is it a positive place to work? Is it a high-performing company? Is there success and results? And if there isn't, is there a map and a journey to come out of that? And can people see the positive end on the journey? Because people are willing to go on the journey if they can see the final results. So considering happy employees, consider the me, is the employees' needs being met? Consider the team and consider the company as a whole. So millennials and future generations, some aspects that I pulled out that are really important to the millennials and future generations that are filling up the workplace. The millennials are about 50% of the workforce right now. Meaning and purpose. Has the company an inspiring meaning and purpose beyond making money? And that is a really key one. Are we making a difference in the world? Work-life balance is really critical, really important. Life balance is about it. It's about working with the employees to make sure that they have a way of having that balance in the workforce. Millennials want to be valued personally. So they want to know their role, how it fits in the bigger picture, and how they are making a difference in the company. So does everyone understand? And one of the questions we ask in engagement surveys is, do you know how your role fits in the bigger picture and the bigger impact of the company? Can you see how you are making a difference? They want to be part of a team. So they want to belong. We all have, as humans, need to belong, and they want to be part, and that's the part of the next one then as well. They need a sense of belonging, but you want to be part of a team. The millennials especially, they like the collective. They want the collective to succeed more than the individual, but they also want to belong, creating that sense of belonging. And that's creating that positive work environment where people matter and people belong. What do I get for working here? So nowadays, there is such transparency across companies. You have look up Glassdoor and you can find out a lot about a company before you even apply for them. You know, what's the culture like? Is it well paid? What do the people like to work? What's good about the company and what's not so good about the company? So we talk about the gems that you really want to keep and enhance, and you have the shadows that you want to minimize and diminish. So what's it like to work here? And it's really, it's so transparent today that having a really great work environment can translate into Glassdoor, where you are literally selling your company on how what a great place it is to work if you have that positive work environment. And they're able to do the research. Yeah, they can go out, as I said, on Glassdoor. What do I get for working here? Also, they want to know that how am I going to be developed? What's my growth and development? Am I going to get some advancement? How am I going to personally develop in this company? What am I going to get from this company? Are they going to develop me as I work here? So all of these aspects are really important and really critical, but creating that positive work environment is one of the things that has the biggest impact on happy and productive employees. So we put out a LinkedIn poll last week or the week before asking, do you think fostering a positive work environment leads to increased employee satisfaction and productivity? And as you can see, high percentage, 97% said, yes, we believe fostering a positive work environment. It's one of the things everyone can impact, even if you don't impact. So in larger companies, you may not have a say on salaries. You may not have a say on benefits because they may already be decided for you. There may be banding in a company. If you are high enough up, you may be able to influence that. But those aspects that are maybe not be able to be influenced by you, they may be set by the company. But a positive work environment, every single leader and manager can impact to improve that satisfaction and productivity. So we're going to focus on that positive work environment because that's something every one of us, whether you're a team member, a team leader, an operations manager, right up to director or board member, from the boiler room to the boardroom, you can impact that positive work environment. That brings about the satisfaction and productivity. So there's always a culture. You end up with one, whatever you do. So you can either choose to shape it or take your chances. If you have been on one of my calls before, I think this is my statement that I use every single time. It defines the culture. Don't leave it to chance. It's like the garden. We can, if we just want a wild garden, we leave it go wild. If you want specific plants, if you want it to look a specific way, you have to tailor it, design it, make sure the ground is right. That's the foundations of the culture, and make sure you have the right plants in the right place, and that every plant can thrive, and really tailor and design that garden the way you want it to turn out. So it's the same with culture. It's consciously designing the culture so that you create that positive work environment so that employees are happy and more productive. But that statement, I think it's one of my favorites for sure. So, right. So one of the key things when we want to consciously influence our work environment and consciously influence that culture is starting off with, where is it now? What is the intel right now? What are those gems that we want to keep? And what are those shadows that we really want to diminish and minimize and eliminate eventually? So what is the culture right now? So, and especially for working out what employees need, an employee survey is a great way to find the intel out of what is the state of the culture today. And also the state of how that employee feels about, if we go back to this, this one, how the employee feels about the me, are my needs being met, how they feel about their team, and how they feel about the company. A survey is a great way. And we would highly recommend as well is consciously making sure that non-desk-based workers get that opportunity to complete the surveys as well, finding ways to make sure that they encouraging them. So we have a company that offer like prizes for people if they complete it, because generally desk-based have an easier opportunity to complete surveys. So making sure your surveys do not eliminate the non-desk-based workers. So if they're in shops, in warehouses, in the factory floor. So gathering that intel, what works. Also, what kind of turnover do you have today? What kind of staff turnover, and what is that costing you in pounds? So we have, as part of our, when we do our Culture Smart Leaders, which we'll tell you about, they get an Excel document that helps them work out, calculate what is it costing the company. So not just losing an employee and gaining employee, those 6 months it takes to bring them on board, how much time of HR is spent bringing them in and bringing them up to speed, and the manager's time training them. All those aspects contribute, if you have someone leaving, to the cost of bringing someone new in and impacting them. So the intel, how well designed your culture is another intel. So we use 4 intels. We use how well designed your culture is, and we will send you the link for that in the email after this event so that you can fill it out. It's a free survey to work out how well designed is your culture, what is the staff turnover, how is the employee engagement, and we also use one more of how likely is your employee, how likely are you to be here within 2 years is another question we ask. So you can get a sense of, are people thinking about leaving or are they thinking about staying? And using those 4 factors gives you a great sense of where we are with the me, the team, and the company. Again, all about keeping the employees happy and productive. And in the surveys, you can find out what they think about well-being, they think about the career and the growth and development, what they think about the company. Do they feel it's going to be successful in the next 3 to 5 years? Are the leaders walking the talk with the values and behaviors? So those surveys are just fantastic to give an insight into where we are. Doesn't fix it, but it gives you insight. Don't ever do a survey without having the commitment to take action after it. Nothing worse than doing a survey, nothing happens after. You will really struggle to get feedback again from employees if you don't take action. So then that's the intel, then designing the culture, having a purpose that is inspiring, having values, what's valuable to the company, and then translating them into clear behavioral blueprint so that we can really see how we want employees to live. So the purpose is why we exist, the values are what's important to us, and the behaviors is how we want to live every day and live out those values. Then bringing it to life, activating it, then embedding it so that it lives. It's not just 1 or 2 people are living this, that it's actually lived every day, embedding it and then measuring it. Are we really implementing this culture? Is it improving or is it not? So really measuring. So we talk about doing the deep dives, finding out about the me, the team, and the company, doing that once a year, and then along the way doing pulses on activities that you are trying to activate and embed. So if there's a behavior let's take, for example, if you want to say, we want to improve the feedback in the company, the managers and peers giving peer-to-peer feedback, you can then pulse that on a monthly basis to say, you know, has your manager given you feedback in the last month? Have your peers given you feedback in the last month? To really assess, is it improving or not? So taking a behavior and pulsing it as you go along is really, really valuable. Then embedding it and then measuring it. So that's our method for implementing a great culture. And then for every culture, you need a really strong operating system. So if you're in a manufacturing environment, my background is manufacturing, you always have a good operating system, and that keeps everything ticking over. So it's the same with culture. Do we have a strong operating system? And this is what we work from when we are educating our culture smart leader, that is so that they can bring that knowledge back into the company. So Esther and James, who are on this call, they're part of our Culture Smart Leader Accelerator, and they are learning about each aspect of this so they can go back into their company and actually do it and bring it to life in the company. So designing, we talked about. Ritualizing is that bringing that practice of the fundamentals. So I don't know about if you know about the Ritz-Carlton. So they have 30 behaviors that they need to comply to really live the Ritz way. And every day they focus on a different behavior. And we do the same across the companies. We say, bring it for every value and every behavior, give it a focus. We normally have about 12 behaviors, so we focus on one per month. And for example, talking about our feedback, if you want better feedback and that's one of your behaviors that you really want to get embedded, maybe that's when you will go out and ask customers for feedback. Maybe that's when you go out and do your engagement survey asking for feedback. Maybe that's when you do the lots of training for managers and show them how to have the confidence and an ability and skill to be able to give feedback. Maybe that's when you give an award for someone who is giving really great feedback to both constructive and positive to some of their employees. So you can really build that system around that, ritualizing those behaviors. Selecting the right people to fit into the culture, obviously a critical one. So hiring around the culture so that it makes it easier. So you avoid having those either toxic employees or just those ones that don't fit in the culture. So really hiring around the culture and then onboarding them, bringing out that passion. Normally employees start with high passion, high enthusiasm. So how do you maintain that and really keep it and activate it and keep it alive, so that we don't diminish it and turn them into detractors further on down the line. So coaching, this is what we talked about again about the managers. Do they have the skills and confidence to reinforce that culture? This is probably the space that most companies fall down on, is expecting a culture to be created and the managers not having the skills and confidence to really be able to reinforce that culture. Communicating it, so that's part of the activating it and embedding it, is we need to be seeing it, we need to be hearing it, and we need to be feeling it. So seeing it can be on screensavers, on the walls, on different aspects. So we've one company that are redesigning that's Bailey, who we talked about earlier. They're redesigning their meeting rooms around a different theme of their values so that people will see it all the time. If you enter their reception, they have it on the walls. Kerry Construction, another client of ours, they have it across their screensaver, a different one every month. They have it all on their walls as well. They have it on their trucks in the construction sites. So so you're seeing it, hearing it. So when leaders are talking, are they using that language? Are they using those values as part of their day-to-day language? When they're doing their town halls, when you're doing your newsletters, keep it around the themes of those values so that you are really communicating that culture and feeling it. Are you rewarding the people who are really living that culture? So that's the feeling it. And also, is your manager treating you in the way that's aligned with the culture? Reboarding then, number 7, that's about, what about existing employees? So we consider a lot about onboarding, but sometimes it's the people who've been there a long time, who may have some historic issues or challenges and negative feelings. That reboarding and bringing them back in and convincing them on the culture is a really important aspect, and we need to hear things at least 7 times. That's the psychologist part of me. 7 times before it even starts to go in. So newsletters, in our town halls, in our any comms, when our managers are doing our team meetings, we need to be hearing it again and again to really, really feel it. And that's bringing that culture to life, so we have that positive environment so that employees are happy and productive. Critical one, number 8, leaders walking the talk. So as I said, in our engagement survey, we ask employees, do the leadership walk the talk in, we don't ask, do the leadership walk the talk? Do they act in accordance with the values and behaviors of this company, are aligned with the culture of the company? Aligning the systems and process, number 9. So this is your rules and regulations and that you have in the company. Do they fit with the culture? Your meetings, how you run meetings, is that aligned with your culture? Do you, if it's a very inclusive culture, do you make sure you hear everyone's voice? For the rules, if you want autonomy and freedom as part of your culture, do your rules act according to that or against that? Accountability, and that is the key one, drive the culture through accountability. Is there accountability for the work we do, but also the behaviors that we have? So that's our culture operating system to make sure our culture is alive and thriving in the companies. So that is our bringing that to life, and that's creating that positive environment. So encourage you to come on, be brave. Any clarifying questions, anything that we talked about that you, obviously these sessions are whirlwind taster sessions of we try and get as much information across as we can to overload you. What any questions you want to come with? Come on in, Muir.
Yes, hi Marita. Hello everyone. I really enjoyed that, Marita, as I do all your. Well, I normally watch you on YouTube rather than live, so it's good to be here amongst you and the colleagues. So you'll have probably noticed I'm not a millennial. I'm about 40 years beyond being a millennial. But I was really intrigued by that little wheel earlier about what millennials are looking for. I guess indeed what any contemporary employee is looking for in an organization. And I haven't heard recently the question of how well an organization invests in an individual, in training, in development, in active career development. Not a good word to use these days, but grooming individuals to be better at their jobs, to progress in the organization, perhaps for leadership positions, etc., and making that a very active part of one's culture, if you like. And I'd be grateful for your views, and indeed anybody else's views about why we don't kind of tend to see that quite so much, and whether it's fashionable these days.
Totally. And if I go back to that wheel, I think that fits into the what do I get for working here, Muir, and definitely growth and development, It's one of the 6 aspects in certainly in our survey, and I hope everyone else's survey, is finding out, am I getting the development and investment I need? Because so we have a company actually who are a transport company, a heavy lift transport company, and they had 6 employees who really great engineers who all were going to leave, and they had a new MD, and that MD worked out. The reason they wanted to leave is they weren't getting the development.
Yeah.
They were not getting, they were happy with the culture, they were happy with their pay, it was kind of comparable, but where were they going? What was the next step? Where are they going? And once they solved that, Muir, all of those 6 employees stayed, even though the other company or that they were thinking of going to was actually very comparable, paid more even, but that growth and development. So I totally agree with you that it's a really key aspect for anyone in the workplace, whether you're millennial right through. We all want to develop in our careers. Also, it pays back. But again, it's a long-term payback, a longer-term payback, I should say, not long-term, longer-term payback, and sometimes harder to convince leadership that it's a worthy investment. And it's the first one to get cut a lot of the time when the cash flow is tight.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And in terms of active career management, moving people from role to role, almost on the basis that you know the individual better than they know themselves. This balance between an individual determining how they wish to develop versus the company determining how they wish to develop. Do you have any views on that?
Yeah, well, I would say it very much depends on the person's motivations, and if they're not motivated. So a lot of the time there's that kind of conflict of, do I want to rise in the organization or do I want to move sideways? So actually, let's step back first. Homegrown talent for me is becoming more and more important because it's getting harder and harder to find great people. So homegrown talent should be in everybody's strategy, in my view, so that they take care. And that's back to your first point, Muir, and it feeds into that, is if we make sure we're growing our own talent, we're keeping them happy, they know the company, and they're more satisfied, they're more committed to the company, and having that homegrown. However, if the person's motivations or motivators don't sit well, and they do not want to progress, for example, into a leadership role, then you can do all the development you want, and they are not going to really want, because they're not driven for it. So there is a motivational, if anyone is ever interested in that, Muir, motivational maps is a great system, which they say there's 9 motivators, and it tells you which of the every one of us have a little bit of those 9 motivators, but which ones are in high intensity. And
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, really helpful.
Really helpful. And that's a really good one to find out, is, like, for example, leadership, is it being an expert is more priority to you? So we would do that with some of our leaders as well. It's a really great one, motivational maps. So any other questions? Thank you, Muir. So our Culture Smart Leader Accelerator is then how we bring, so we are consultants, we go into companies, but what I realized was actually companies become dependent on you, and that's not right longer term. So my big dream and goal was to create a community of culture smart leaders. So Esther and James, who are on the call, they're part of our Culture Smart Leader Accelerator, and we bring them together. It's a community where they can learn from each other, but also we do live coaching sessions. We have an academy where they can learn all the skills and get all the tools that we use when we go into companies. So for example, the most recent one we did on Monday, Esther was there, we went through how would you workshop to translate your values into behaviors. and they get our facilitation guide, all the aspects that we need. So that's what we did live on Monday. And there's also the academy in the background that they have all the training that they need to learn that. But yeah, it's maybe Esther, you want to say how was that? How was the session on Monday?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, it was, but not just the Monday, but we started working on it the beginning of May, and I think it's the 4th or 5th workshop that we were doing. And every time you get you get some kind of tutoring and help on like similarly structured like this webinar, but like just focusing on one topic. So Marisha will tell her expertise and share it with you, and then you get a little toolbox. And then you can go out to your company and start implementing it. So like, it's really great.
Cool. Ben, you got to jump in.
Yeah, I just had a question just around, I suppose, how are you finding that companies are, I suppose, maybe getting around some of the challenges in embedding culture post-COVID, when for many companies, the reality is that the workforce might only be in the office, I don't know, 60% of the time, 3 days out of 5 or something like that. I know Dyson, I saw Dyson the other day very, very strongly. They're building a campus culture, and the expectation is you will be in the office 5 days a week, but that seems to be the exception rather than the norm now. And that, just wondering how companies get around that sort of challenge where it's not the same on team meetings and that sort of stuff, to try and embed culture and say hold people accountable to behaviors if you hardly see them. Yeah, and
you are so right, and I think it even takes even more conscious effort and an organized and deliberate effort to make it work when you are a lot of the time dealing with people remotely. And you see companies are mixing it. So one company we have, they do every second week, everyone needs to be in the office everyone in a team needs to see each other every 2 weeks. And then if you have close workings with another department, they should be in the office at the same time every 2 weeks for 1 day, so that they are seeing each other, because they saw that they were losing a lot of their great productivity by being out of the office. But some companies, that's not an option, and other companies open it up for flexible totally. You have to make even more conscious effort. You need managers who can really have that confidence and skills. It's hard enough face to face, even more difficult when you are online. And designing the rituals and designing the meetings so that they are really effective becomes even more and more important. So we spend one whole week on our Culture Smart Accelerator doing just about meetings, because they become a key aspect of not only bonding, but also for effectiveness.
Useful, yeah.
Cool. So if you want to hear more about our Culture Smart Accelerator, jump on a call with us, a demo, and anyone who comes on our calls, we always offer it. Let me just put the demo in the chat. You're more than welcome to jump on a call. We'll talk about your culture, where you're at, where you want it to be, and what would be of value to get you there. So we can share all of that during the call. So jump on and book. Oh, great. I see already you're booking them. Brilliant. And let's go quickly around the room for a gem and a pledge. So for me, I'm more of a workshop person, so talking actually is not my natural style. I love when we have more interaction. But one thing is most important to me is that we have some impact. So something that was a gem that you want to take away, and a pledge that you're actually going to do now, something you're going to do because of something you heard today. So let's jump on. I don't know, Nancy, if you have a chance to come on the screen, and Jahangir and Liz, that would be a good time to jump in. Maybe maybe we start with you, Muir, since you've been on and chatting with us.
Great. Yeah, it's easy to go first. So, Marita, I still love your, you've got a culture. This is the gem. You've got a culture whether you like it or not. You know, do you want to make it the culture you want, or do you want to just let it happen?
Yeah.
That's always my gem. And yeah, the takeaway, I guess, is for me to think a lot more about that point we discussed about understanding personal development needs, merging those with company needs, and seeing how much that can motivate people to stick with you.
Brilliant. Super, super. Liz, are you there if you want to come on? Ben, any takeaways for you? A gem and a pledge?
I'm here, yeah. I was just recently looking in terms of our pulse survey and how the some of the needs have changed, or some of the desires around the EVP, and that was evident. And it's the kind of lesson for us is to actually make sure that we are being responsive in terms of what we're measuring, when we're measuring it, and what level of focus it needs.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Your employee value proposition, fantastic. Love it. Ben.
Yeah, I mean, coming in from a couple of different places with different conversations I've had this week, I think the gem, which is pretty obvious, but I hadn't really thought about it, was the millennials are the 50% of the workforce. And I think to that point about they want to be valued personally, and career development is very important to that group of people. And I think to Muir's point, sometimes companies focus more on kind of how does their development meet the company's needs, whereas the individual's looking more at, I want to think more longer term about my career, and I might only be here 2 or 3 years. So funnily enough, through another conversation I was having, I'm gonna go off and research becoming getting a sort of coaching, career coaching sort of qualification, because I think it's something that you can add into your conversations with that group of people. I think not enough companies really think longer term about the career coaching, and that's different from job coaching.
And how inspiring if you feel a company is, you know, considering your career longer, that what's in it for me. Oh my gosh, how inspiring would that be, Ben? Fantastic. Love it. Jahangir, have you a chance to come on screen or to share a gem and pledge with us? Where are you? Gone from the screen. Oyen works for me, so she's listening in for me. And Esther, any takeaways for you from today?
I am following you for a long time, and I've attended many of these webinars before we started the Smart Accelerator. So to be honest, it was a repetition, but it's always good to, you know, the more you repeat and the more you listen to these things, the better they sink in. So as always, I was very happy to hear it. But that is not the first time I heard these principles.
Good. We're getting there. 7 times, Esther, and it'll all be in. Fantastic.
I am coming 7 more times.
Super. Well, that is perfect. Make sure you book in for a culture review with us, and we can give you review your where the culture's at, where you want it to be, and what would be valuable, what kind of tools and tactics would be valuable to get you there, and we can talk further. Great. I will sign off and wish you a lovely day in this lovely sunny weather, and see you next month. You'll be all informed of what the next topic is, so always welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
See you. Bye. Bye.